What's going on, everyone? Matt Schaeffer back here with episode 4 of the Tesla Model 3 shop demo car. So this is going to be the final episode of this build series. This is showing you the finished work of everything that we did to our shop car. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now, since we had spoke about the radar and laser integration, where we did the AL priority for laser shifters, we did the escort for the radar defense. Essentially, in the front of this, we have 3 shifters, and that is going to be our shifter housing in the front that you can see there. Again, at this point, all of this was done probably 2 years ago. So this is showing you everything completely worn in. Essentially, we have a shifter behind here, a shifter behind here, and a shifter on the respective other side. So again, when you look at the front end of this, it just kind of looks like a factory panel here in the front end of this car. Looking at the rear, same concept. We have the license plate frame here. So if I pop this off, and then we are looking at the license plate frame, we have RX and RX up there at the top. This thing just magnetizes on IR acrylic to hide the shifters on the back. And since I always start you off with the trunk first, pop this up. And this is going to give you the full design of what we came up with, right? So you kind of saw us laying out the amplifier rack and everything in the prior episodes. Essentially, we have it programmed, so you see the blue ones there. The blue ones are going to be the intake. The pink ones there are going to be the exhaust. So the blue ones are pulling in air into the amp rack. All of the pink ones here are blowing air out. We have fans on the other side of this, which we'll show you. So again, we're circulating air all the way through this full amp rack. Obviously, the biggest challenge with all this equipment that we're trying to shove in here is how are we going to install 2 subs? How are we going to do all of these amplifiers, especially since we use the Musaic Pro 430, the A-Class. It's a lot larger. So again, if you saw the last episode, you saw us wiring up the amp rack. You can overlay a picture here so you can see what that looks like beneath the sub enclosure. But again, we're trying to come up with a good design where we still have functionality of the trunk, where you have as much usable space as possible. So I can still put a bunch of groceries here on this floor in front of this amp rack. So still usable. I still have access to this pocket here. I can still access all the factory stuff behind this panel. Our DSP is behind this panel. I can still access it. This front end breaks down very quickly if I have to access the amplifiers. So servicing it is super easy, super simple. Looking underneath this removable floor here, if I just take this out and we look down at the wiring below, you're going to notice I have access to my circuit breaker, all the fusing here for the amplifiers, and the fusing for all of my accessories. We have another hidden amp down here. It's going to be a 4-channel Musaic Pico, or Adamo 4, Pico 4. Yeah, it's the Pico 4, now replaced with the Adamo 4. This is going to run the rear speakers active. Again, behind here we have a Musaic Pro 430. That's going to be our A-Class. It's going to power the mid-range and tweeter in the front. We're going to have a Musaic Pro 210, which is going to power the front mid-bass. We're going to have 2 110s, which are going to power each one of these Utopia M10-inch subwoofers respectively. Under here, we're going to have our excess power battery. It's a 12-volt Model 3. You have to use a certain type of battery in the Model 3. That's the 12-volt. Again, you would tackle the 15.5-volt a little bit different. But everything you see here, you're not going to have any errors with this car, how everything is wired up. We have our battery isolator down there, and again, our circuit breaker right there. This is going to be the trim we made for the battery. This removes to access the battery. Thank you to Excess Power for supplying us with the AGM battery for this build. We basically fit in the biggest AGM battery that we could physically fit in, and still have, usable space. The battery rack there that you see, super cool. I really like the design, how it all came out. Again, all of this is hidden underneath a carpeted panel, so you're not gonna see any of this stuff in normal sight, but again, the attention to detail behind the scenes, in my opinion, is just as important as what you see in front. These would be our sponsors here for the build. We got Focal, Mosconi, obviously Mosconi amps we used. We used the Focal Utopia M speakers, obviously Astel and Kern, shout out for our SP3000, XS Power, Mobile Solutions for all the fabrication bits and stuff that we used for this build. Obviously Sound Shield, we did the whole vehicle in this sound treated with Sound Shield and Hush Mat. And then obviously Escort for our radar. And then in memory of Todd Ramsey, one of the greatest friends that we've ever had in our industry, has influenced so many people. Shout out to Todd. Now looking more at the design we came up with for the trunk, you're going to see a lot of different design elements here. Obviously we have sound effects, which is the shop that I work at. That's where Musaic Design works through. They work through sound effects. And then if you look a little closer, might have to overlay some pictures, but you can kind of see like the Alcantara design that I did here. I basically took my logo, the Musaic logo, and I engineered it into the Gucci print. And that's going to give us like our accent suede throughout this whole build that we did. Obviously you see all of this. This is active LED lights that you're seeing through all of this acrylic where it just fades out all nicely. I really love how that turned out. You can see through the clear acrylic here. We have our trim rings there that light up so you don't see the mounting holes of the Utopia subs. We have our carpet. Obviously up top we have our carpet. We did cut out a pass-through up top here so air travels from the trunk through the rear deck, which I'll show you, into the cab. So there's many ways for the air to vent back here, which looks like a sealed trunk, to get that air to move into the cab. That way we reduce the pressure and therefore reducing the resonance here inside the trunk. But again, just so many small little details. You got the Model 3 logo, the white accents, so many little details that, you know, reside everywhere that you're going to see throughout this trunk. So that's always a concept, but again, also highly functional, right? We have our floor that's reinforced, goes back in, and again, I can put in golf clubs. I've done it before. Fit some golf clubs there, you can fit some groceries there, and you have a functional trunk taking up the least amount of space possible while displaying all the equipment in a very nice showy format. Now to look at the door panels, I told you we did the suede accents throughout the entire build. All of that is going to be, again, the Musaic Gucci print that we created. That's going to be the accent in the door panels that I did. The top of all the door panels we did in Alcantara suede. The darker, this is going to be the jet black. That's going to be the you know, the softer charcoal. And again, behind the seats, again, Alcantara suede, jet black. The entire headliner we did in the jet black. The rear deck we did in the jet black. Now, if we fold down the rear seats, you're going to get a good look at behind the subwoofer enclosure. So again, trying to keep everything as tastefully done as possible, as simplistic, while yet also having an immense amount of detail. Under this, we have the front end of our Mosconi Pro 430 and our Mosconi Pro 210. So this is going to garner access to that. So there's a bunch of fans down here. I'm sure you can hear it. We have intake and exhaust here, blowing on the power supplies of the amplifier, letting everything breathe. Same thing with behind here. This is room for more air to escape. So if you want to fold down the back seats, there's even more possibility to vent air from the trunk into this interior. You can see that large grill up there. This is a press grill that we did on the top of this factory panel. Again, we reroute this in Alcantara, but obviously there is just an immense amount of air that can come from the trunk through this rear deck, and obviously the loading that the subwoofer does off of this rear glass is just incredible when it comes to how these two 10-inch Focal Utopia M subs perform. Obviously we have our custom terminal cup here, We do the same style in almost every sub box that we do. Obviously a great spot to test, make sure everything is okay with the subs if we had to troubleshoot anything. And again, all of this also lights up here at night. Nice little soft blue glow. But again, we have the fans down there. Everything is breathing, even though all the amplifiers are completely hidden underneath this subwoofer enclosure. I mainly drive all the time with these seats up. There's not that big of an impact audibly that you can hear when the seats are up versus down. Obviously a little bit more air can move if the seats are down, because you're just increasing surface area here for the air to move. All right, so looking at the interior, again, we have our Alcantara suede inserts that you can see there on the door panel with that cool rastering from our laser. Again, that's just burnt into the suede to give that cool design. We have the rest of the Alcantara suede, the jet black here at the top. And again, the reason we did all this Alcantara inside the car is because the Alcantara is really going to help with the reflections with the audio. The more harder materials, like you see this factory vinyl up top, if we were to wrap or make some sort of cover here, that would be Alcantara suede. That suede is really going to help with the reflectiveness from this mid-range onto the top of the dash, which would help a lot. So again, we utilize as many panels, factory panels as possible, to redo them in Alcantara. And again, showing off the design and what we can do with the laser is really going to accent, you know, how different we use certain things like the laser. So we have like my signature right there engraved into the Alcantara. We have this cool brake line that you can see here from that same print. So we have that Musaic Gucci print behind the physical MCU display. Brake line that you can see there. And of course, everywhere you see we have the darker up top. We have the charcoal at the bottom. We have the darker up top here, the charcoal at the bottom. So running this theme through everything, much like you see with the pillars here, right? We have the jet black, and then we have the Alcantara charcoal here in the middle with that Musaic Gucci print. Obviously these A-pillars completely made from scratch, the body line and everything is just to really accent what you see at the top and not make this look like it's a monstrosity, right? So the way everything molds in just looks really cool. It keeps the really cool body line in there, and it flows and gradually disappears at the top of the pillar. So again, we have our Utopia M mid-range 3.5 there. We have our tweeters here in custom sail panels. That's where the factory tweeters were, but of course we made everything a little bit bigger that you can see there. Put the tweeters on axis, made this cool little trim design for the grill, pressed these grills there. We decided to keep those open on the mid-range just to kind of showcase and highlight everything. We could have made it look a little bit more factory by also pressing a grill up top here. We made a custom holder here for our Astel and Kern SP3000. So we actually embedded magnets into this piece. You have our magnet on the, or our piece of metal on the back of this. So this thing just sucks in place there. We can have our charger feed up through the bottom here to charge the Astel. And of course, our 3.5 to RCA that goes to our DSP can come down right through here. You can see like things like the Astel logo here engraved in the suede. And of course, you see more of the Musaic Gucci print here. This thing becomes now a holder, fits perfectly in place. Have your finger holes there so you can easily pull it out. And looking under here, we basically have our setup for our Escort controller, and then of course we're going to have our AO priority controller. Both of these are trimmed in, look super nice, have the accents of silver that match the factory, and all of this is on magnets, so all of this can easily move, be tucked away if you had to get to the USBs behind here, and all of this stuff can easily snap back in place to be used. So anytime that we are constructing things in a car, we use these same type of principles, because again, you want to be able to have perfect functionality of everything it would be very difficult if this was not removable, like I just showed you, to get to the physical USB-Cs that are behind at the back of this console, right? So making all of that easily accessible is something that we're going to take the extra time to always do with every car. More small details, of course, you can see like the Musaic Gucci print on the insert of the seat belt. Same thing up top here, we have our Mosconi RCD controller, which is built into the headliner. Musaic Gucci print here around this display. So again, that theme we just carried throughout the entire build and made this look more of a functional piece of the car. That was the best spot we found for the Mosconi full-size RCD to work within this car, since we're utilizing all this other area for different things. And then right over the steering column, and sorry, there's a polarizer on the front of this camera, so you're probably not going to be able to see the display, but the display's on right now, and I'll overlay a picture so you can see what it looks like. But the Escort display is made in this little pod here behind the steering wheel, and it's going to sit right on top of the column. So every time I'm driving, I have a perfect view of everything that's going on when it comes to our Escort radar. It's going to be impossible to see here kind of in the daytime, but there's an LED you can kind of see from my hand that is firing upwards into the windshield. I can see it right now in the windshield, but we're using the reflection of the LED from the AL Priority to be our kind of like a head. We created a heads-up display for the AL Priority LED, which you'll see here in the glass. And then to kind of go back over what we did with the speakers, we did 8-inch Focal Utopia M speakers here in the door, made custom speaker adapters. Behind these doors are fully sound treated. Again, if you haven't seen the rest of the build log, we did 3 other episodes. This is episode 4. This is the final installment of this build log. But check out those videos to see the behind the scenes of us sound treating all of this as we were doing the physical work. You never really see me do that in the finished build log things of the job, but in this case, I filmed everything along the way when we were doing that portion of the work. But I'll overlay some pictures here so you can kind of see what it looks like behind the door panels. Full sound shield, full hush mat to fully sound treat all of these doors. Before we even started this job, or as we started this job, this full interior was taken out. The full floor was fully sound treated in a layer of hush mat, then a full layer of sound shield. So again, this car is, when I mean it is soundproof, it is soundproof. You can rip this thing full bore on the inside, have it playing loud as hell, and then step outside the car, shut the door, and you basically hear nothing. It's how a car should be soundproof. Virtually nothing in here resonates. The only thing that resonates is like the internals of this DSP controller. But other than that, I don't hear anything that makes noise or resonates, which is great because it really lets us use the full potential of what this system can do. So I mean, this car is super dynamic, plays super loud, has a ton of headroom, and yeah, this thing rips while still keeping that image anchored there in the center of the car. With that being said, we do have 3 separate presets. Preset 1 is going to be the OEM radio. Everything that played from the MCU, just like it did before, will run through preset number 1. Right now, you can see it's on preset number 2. Preset number 2 is going to basically run our phone and have a Bluetooth connection to the AMAS from the Mosconi. And what the AMAS is going to be a high resolution Bluetooth module that will pair from our phone and send that directly to the DSP processor. Why is this important? It's because we can play higher resolution format through our phone, have a better digital handshake from our phone to the DSP. When we're using the factory radio, I mean, this is one of the few cars where like your only option is to Bluetooth connect to the car. The Bluetooth chipset that's going to be in the factory radio is not going to be great, right? They're not making it for audio quality by any means. So therefore, when we're using our AMAS, we're getting a much more bandwidth Bluetooth streaming connection between our phone and the physical car. It also helps a lot with latency. So if you're watching YouTube videos or you're watching TikTok videos or whatever it may be from your phone, when you're connected to the factory radio, a lot of times you'll notice there's a lot of latency, which means the audio and video does not match up. So in this case, my audio and video matches up perfectly. So I can watch NPR Tiny Desk videos, I can watch anything, and it's not going to be an annoyance when I watch it. So generally speaking, I can connect simultaneously to the factory car radio through Bluetooth and the AMAS at the same time. And I'm just from my phone choosing, I want the audio to be diverted to the AMAS, but I can still see all the album art and information and stuff from the factory radio. I can even hit track forward and track back from the factory radio, and the audio will still go directly to my DSP. So it's like I have the best of both worlds at that point. Preset number 3 is going to be our Astel and Kern. This is going to utilize my 3.5 to RCA cable. So we're going analog out of this, which means we're using this in line out mode, and it's going to give you 2 or 3 volts out to our DSP. And why we do this is for a few different reasons. We're using the DACs of the player. That's why you purchase a player, right? Is going to be because those are going to have great DACs built in. Also, it can process all types of formats, anything that's going to be out there, all the way up to, different levels of DSD. Whereas if we were to go digital out of this, if I had Pink Floyd in DSD or Michael Jackson or Dire Straits in DSD, I would not be able to play that file media if I'm going digital out. So I'm going digital out, we're utilizing the DACs of the DSP to do the processing in a digital format, right? So if I'm going digital out, that's essentially just a USB drive, and now the DACs of the DSP have to break down whatever the file format is. So I don't know any aftermarket car audio DSPs that can handle or break down decode DSD. So in this case, like even if it's a Brax DSP, you can only send 24 or 192 to it. So again, if you just have other media that is not FLAC format, you're not going to be able to process it, which means now you have to be selective and have different versions of music available on your player. Whereas if we go analog out, we don't have to worry about anything because this is doing all the decoding, going analog out into your DSP. So that's why we have that in the analog format. That's going to be our preset 3, and that's really going to make the system kind of come alive and give you the additional width, depth, separation that you wouldn't have by playing music from a cell phone using Apple Music or Tidal, for instance. Don't really know what else. I feel I'm probably missing a ton just because this was such a big build, but this is always at our shop, guys. So if you want to come and stop by and take a listen to this thing, you're more than welcome. We're eventually going to have a area on our website that is going to let you pick a time and date in order to come and take a listen to it, right? So if you want to make a reservation online through our website, musaicdesign.com, to come and experience this thing, you'll go there and you'll see the shop car or demo tab, which will then take you to a reservation spot in order to take a listen to this thing. So let me know if you liked this build log kind of couple part episode. It's kind of tough to do on client vehicles because, again, at the end of the day, like, we have to focus, and anytime I pick up a camera mid build, kind of takes the focus on the project off. And obviously we're on time crunches, right? Like, we have to make money. We're not doing this as like a DIYer and can, do this in a long amount of time. We're trying to get these cars done in certain periods of time, right? So it's why you don't see me pick up a camera and start filming the behind the scenes of like the carpet removal and sound treating and showing you how to do all of this stuff. So generally you'll just have to see that through pictures, but this one was a little bit different. You kind of saw all the different work, and I kind of explained my mindset in the previous episodes of like how I'm going to tackle the amplifiers and where they're going to go to be the most functional and serviceable and all these different things. So just let me know how you guys like this series and if you want to see more of that. But thank you guys so much again for following along with all these builds. Thank you for all the opportunities. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I love to do. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to build a masterpiece inside of one of your cars. If this is your first time stumbling upon the channel, we do videos like this all the time. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video. All those things help the algorithm. Make sure you hit the alert bell letting you know anytime we drop a new video. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. We have done more and more on this platform of kind of behind the scenes stuff or build log videos well before they make it out to YouTube. So check us out there. Same thing with Instagram. We're doing more and more reels, which are going to be tinier build log videos that are going to make it out before you see everything on YouTube. So check us out on Instagram. I already mentioned it once, but check out our website, musaicdesign.com. This is going to be the best source to find all the content that we've ever done. The full build log pictures of every car attached with a YouTube video of every car. You can easily search for any make, manufacturer, and see anything that we've done on that specific car. So if you don't have a Tesla, like in this video, and you want to see something different, you can see all the different vehicles that we've ever done. So go ahead and check that out. And also, if you do a lot of work on Teslas, I offer a lot of help when it comes to consults with different Teslas in order how to install all this stuff inside a car, inside a Tesla, and not have any error messages, right? So this has been in this car for 2 years now, a lot of equipment. We have no error messages. So everything is perfectly functional with the factory of the car, and everything seamlessly works fine, and everything operates great. So send me a private message if you want to talk about a Tesla that you have and you're trying to do a big system in it. If you want to contact me for a build, here's my phone number followed by my email address. These are the 2 best points of contact to get a hold of me. And finally, check out our podcast, the Old Fashioned Car Audio Podcast, streaming anywhere that you can get a podcast, Spotify, Apple, no matter what, you can find us. We're talking about old school car audio, new school car audio, different icons of car audio, how to make a modern car sound good. We literally go through everything on this podcast, to real-time stuff, real-time shop stuff, or even events that are happening in our life. So it's not just based on car audio, it's more based on friendship, a life in car audio, and then of course modern things with car audio. And again, thank you to our sponsors for helping us on this build. Again, make sure you come check out this car if you guys are local. Thank you guys for following along, and
until next time, peace.